Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be reviewing the S.H.Figuarts Pan GT and Giru. It's been a long time since I've seen GT. I do remember bits and pieces of it. I do remember Giru playing a pretty decent role in it and just sort of being the sort of mascot slash companion of the group in GT. And it is nice to finally round out the main cast. And it's kind of weird that we got Super 17 before we got Pan, but that's neither here nor there. We finally have Pan now. And it is also kind of funny that we got the superhero Pan before we got this one as well. But GT was sort of only Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta at that time, so it's fine. But anyway, this is Pan as she appeared in Dragon Ball GT, so older than she is at the end of Z and older than she is in Superhero. So it is a completely different style figure than we used to, still a kid, but sort of like more in the range of like young Gohan. So the aesthetic and style of the figure is more comparable to that sort of height range of figure, even though the articulation and manufacturing and design of these figures has changed considerably since those early ones. But anyway, moving on to what's inside the box. So we get a pretty decent amount for Pan. So she's got 5 faces out of the box, 4 for her and 1 for Goku. We get a tiny little Giru with some very basic posability. We get 2 hands with effect parts. We get her backpack, folded arms, accessories, as well as windswept hair for action poses or flight poses and things like that. So a pretty cool loadout, honestly. But taken out of the box and put on a display here is Pan, and she is looking very good. I like the bright colors and the design of her, very different to most other Dragon Ball characters. I think that her design is very striking, and there's a reason why it's sort of iconic along with a lot of the other GT characters' looks, and I think it works quite well. Not a lot of paint, again, pretty normal for S.H.Figuarts, but what is there looks good, and all of the face details are nice. And I think she scales with the rest of the line. Whether or not any of the GT figures scale with Dragon Ball Z figures is debatable, because some of them are a little all over the place. But for the most part, the GT figures do scale with each other, which I like. And here she is next to the Goku and the Trunks, so you can see how they all look. I do like that the Pan is just a little bit bigger than the Goku, just nice, and it helps reinforce that these are pretty much all unique sculpts every single time they tackle these figures, which is cool. And the Giru is very tiny, you can't move his legs. I'm not sure if you can swivel his waist, I really didn't want to try it, but his arms can move up and down, but they do feel quite weak, so I didn't really want to push anything too crazy. But, you know, it's just a glorified little standee. It's like the Cyberman accessory that Yamcha comes with. It's just there for the sake of being there, and it would have been weird if it wasn't included. As for Pan's posability, it's pretty good. She's got a ball joint at the neck, where it's like a double ball joint, which allows for pretty good movement. Her arm can move out that far, rotate all the way around, butterfly inwards. There's an upper arm swivel, bend at the elbow, limited by the sleeve, as well as a ball hinge at the wrist. I did have to fix her right arm because it was incredibly tight out of the box, so I had to loosen it up with some silicone grease. But now it's working just fine. She's got a ball joint in the upper chest, which allows for some pretty good movement. Her legs can split that far, kick forward and back that far. There is a swivel at the upper thigh, bend at the knee, as well as a pivot and hinge and rotation at the leg, ankle and foot. And it's all rather nice. Not super limited, but some of the design does get in the way, like the sleeves blocking the arms, or the pants sort of blocking the knee bend at a certain point, but it gets what you need done. She doesn't have the most dynamic range anyway, but it is possible to get some pretty good poses out of that, and you will see them soon. Now for her 4 faces, you get a standard smiling face out of the box. You get a really happy face with really bright triangular happy mouth, which looks kind of funny. You get a mouth open shouting face, as well as a teeth gritted angry face. Then with the windswept hair, you can change the style of the figure quite a bit. Now the hair is in 2 separate parts, so in theory I think you can put a different front bang to the back hair, but I just put them all as one anyway, because it looks better that way. Or at least I thought it looked better that way, but I didn't see any reason why you couldn't sort of mix and match a little bit. So it gives you plenty of options for her expression. And then you get a bright, happy face for Goku, which I do really like as well. And it's just nice to have. Not super necessary, but you know, we're already getting tons with this pen anyway, so it is a nice addition. And with those accessories, you can get Pan into some pretty good poses. I do like the effect parts, even if they are simple, that come already molded into her hands. They are glued in, although one of them came loose for me, so I'm not sure if they're meant to be removable, but I don't think they are. But they are just like the simple effect part that we've seen a few times before, like on the Tournament of Power androids, and I think Hits got the exact same effect part. It's sort of like a Rasengan, just really, really simple, but nicely executed. But you can get some pretty good poses if you know how to work the figure just right. Like, I think you can get a nice high kick if you activate the ab crunch with the kick and putting the alternative leg backwards. It makes the kick look way higher, and I do like that quite a bit. I think aerial poses are where Pen really thrives, and like accessories like the backpack are pretty easy to put on, nothing too crazy. You basically just like put it on like an actual backpack. Although I did notice that like some of my hinges came off and I could plug them back in, but I felt like they might have been glued on, so I'm not sure if that was like a manufacturing error or they're meant to be removed so it's easier to put on, but it seemed like the accessories were saying something else. So take it or leave it, you might need to put on the backpack carefully. Mine just sort of happened to work this particular way, and I'm fine with it. I don't think it's broken, but the folded arms accessory is a little bit awkward to put in, but does look really good once it's on. And I just generally like the style of the figure quite a bit, and I do like that I was able to get that main promo shot that they've been teasing forever with this lineup of figures. It's kind of weird, again, that we got Trunks and Super 17 before we got Pan, especially having Super 17 before Pan. It's kind of weird. But overall, really nice figure. Nothing too crazy, but achieves what it needs to be a solid release. And I do like the amount of accessories you get from it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.